Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of the Burn, Nick, and you all think I'm by myself. Because if you're watching on YouTube, you definitely think that I'm by myself. You people on the audio, you have no idea. You have no idea what's going on. But I'm not by myself. Coming back with me on the show, we have returning guest, Cherry Chernobyl. How you doing?
I am doing well, Nick. Thanks for having me back. How are you?
I'm good. So today, you're going to smoke your first cigar.
I am.
Yep.
My very first.
That's what you're here for. But which let's before we go too far, why not? Let's go ahead and get right into this. Just jump in. Let's jump in.
All
Both
right.
feet.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So today we're going to be smoking something a little smaller because, I didn't want to throw you into the deep end. Give you like a big, giant Toro size thing, something like that. I wanted to, ease you into this.
I don't want to embarrass myself and throw up.
You'll be fine. But I have a product here that listeners of the show, Luke, my 635 millimeter, if you guys know him, this was his first cigar, and so it'll be your first cigar.
Okay.
And so today we're going to be smoking the Villiger Export. Now, the Villiger Export is a 4x37. It's a little guy, and it's square. It's pressed. The description of it is a small traditional cigar offering a balanced blend of tobaccos from Brazil and the Caribbean, enhancing the spicy taste of Villiger Export, which comes encased in a high-grade leaf wrapper from Indonesia.
Mm.
So we got that going on. So we have the Villiger Export. Now, they come cut already. So we don't have to cut the cigar. But if we did, the cut would be brought to you by 2guyscigars.com. That's the number 2guyscigars.com. They've been around for 40 years, and they are the trusted name in the cigar industry. I almost said 20 years because I'm so fixated on the number 2. Fixate on the number 2 when you're putting in the URL. Don't fixate on the number 2 when you're talking about how long they've been around. It's been 40 years. And everybody knows Two Guys, but if you don't, please give them a try. You won't be sorry. Family owned and operated, 2guyscigars.com does the very best to provide a great selection, fair prices, and awesome customer service. I don't know what else you could possibly want. Same day delivery, maybe?
No.
But I guess if you're in the New Hampshire area, you just go and pick it up. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I'm making shit up now. I'm just saying. That would be the only thing. Dave. Is same-day delivery. If you could get Mr. Jonathan on a bicycle to deliver it on the same day.
That is top-notch customer service.
That would be top-notch customer service.
That is a way to show that you care.
And Mr. Jonathan has little bike shorts. So, anyway, please go to 2guyscigars.com for your next cigar purchase. Tell them that the Cigar Pulpit sent you. And remember, that's the number 2guyscigars.com. And with that, it would normally be time to go ahead and cut the cigar. But we're not cutting the cigar because the cigar is already cut. It comes already cut. And it doesn't matter which end you start. So, I don't know which end is up with this.
Yeah.
I'm
a busy woman. I've got things to do. I don't have time to cut my cigar or pay attention to which end is which. Just
light it.
Just light it up.
Just go. So, I'm going to give you the education on the lighting here.
Please do, because let me tell you. I'm just going to start off real quick by saying, so yes, this is my first cigar.
Yes.
I've never even tried someone else's lit cigar, so I don't know anything about this.
Okay.
I am not a smoker. There have been a few little chunks of time in my life where I was a cigarette smoker. Now, I know in our conversations, you don't smoke a cigar same way you would smoke a cigarette.
No. So
this is something that I'm I don't want to say nervous. I'll say I'm a little apprehensive about, especially doing it recording. Like if I make a total ass of myself.
This is easy.
Everybody has to give me a pass.
First of all,
right, folks?
everybody is super used to me coughing up a lung in the mic when I do a retrohale. So you don't even need to worry about that.
I've been to college. I've done a bit of smoking, but no, cigars are new to me.
So the first thing before we even get into it, before we even start it, Smoking a cigar is like drinking a drink out of a straw.
Sure.
Okay? By the way, check out my Sweet Bucky's cup. For those of you on the YouTubes, you got the Sweet Bucky's cup.
It's a big one.
It's a big one. It's a big one.
It's a big one.
Imagine your cigar is like the straw, and you're drawing liquid up through the straw, but you're holding it in your mouth. You're not swallowing the liquid, or in this case, you're not inhaling the smoke.
Sure.
You're just drawing the smoke into your mouth. You're letting the smoke or the liquid, depending upon the analogy we're going with here, kind of mingle, and then you're just letting it out and just push it out, exhale it out of your mouth. The retrohale is when you take some and push it through your nostrils.
Sure.
And you exhale through your nose. Some people aren't good at it. Me, for example. We hack up a lung. Everything is spicy.
Now, see, I've done the kind of like the reverse of that, where they call it a French inhale, where you pull smoke into your mouth and then you release it and then inhale it through your nostrils.
Oh.
It makes you look cool.
Okay. I'm not going to do that. But
no, not with this.
But that would be the only thing that I would say going into this is draw the smoke into your mouth, taste it, and then let it go.
All right.
Don't inhale it.
Got it.
Then in terms of lighting this cigar, the way I like to light a cigar, and I'll do this here. So this is you get the outer edge. This is not probably the best example for this method, but we're going to do it anyway. So take your flame. Don't put it directly into the flame. You can see the flames. You can kind of see where the flame is coming up. Go for like the heat of the flame. You don't go like into the flame itself.
Yeah.
And from there, I like to go around the edge and get the outer part of the wrapper going. Then I'll hit the middle of it just for a second, just to kind of give it a little bit. Then from there, that's when you put it in your mouth. Start it and just put it in the heat of the flame and be drawing in as you're turning it. That way you're getting that cherry nice and, but, you've got this. You got this. And while I'm doing that, let's go ahead and listen to the greatest commercial that you've ever heard.
Some say cigars are all the same. It's just not true. It's you I have to blame.
Well, I don't know, 'cause what I know, there is a cigar called Aladino Corojo.
Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. They say authentic, so we're not confused, while the others say it's a word that's just abused.
I guess that's so, they can't compete. At least I'm sure Aladino can't be beat.
Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Cigars uses authentic Corojo tobacco from JRE Tobacco. This is the greatest commercial you ever heard. Yeah.
All right, we're just getting hers going there. Just making sure the cherry on the end of that is appropriately lit. And I like to take a couple of quick puffs on it just to get the cigar going. Not like, you're good. You're lit. See?
Not too bad.
Right? And you're doing it just fine. Now, for those of you on the YouTube, you don't get to see it because she has to keep her anonymity.
Sorry,
but
y'all.
But trust me,
Cherry's
she's doing
got a
it
nice
just
little
fine.
cherry going.
There you go.
Not too bad.
Now, I want to get something out of the way before we get into, whatever other conversation we're going to have.
Oh,
today.
sure.
Now, the last time you were on the show, we discussed emergency management, which admittedly is kind of your thing.
Sure.
And I just want to I have to call out the one of the singers on that greatest commercial we ever heard.
Sure.
I have to call out Dave because Dave commented and talked about, what's a cigar show doing a show about emergency management for? And I mean, I retorted back like what, a week or two, or maybe two. But at least I think it was only like a week. A week later, is when Dave decides that he's going to rattle off his top pizza places in New England that like none of us have ever heard of and probably never will go to. But, I don't want to discuss the idea of podcast topics that are very esoteric on a fucking cigar show. But what I will point out is that if you're a listener of the Cigar Authority and you sat through both Hurricane Helene and Milton, well, maybe your cigars were, reviewed. But if you listened to my show and you sat through those hurricanes and you heard the episode that you were on, maybe, just maybe, you had an emergency management plan for yourself.
Could have learned a thing or two.
Just saying. Just saying.
I mean, I get it. All work and no play makes a dull podcast for Cherry Chernobyl. Is that right?
They
can't all be zingers, you know?
Guess they're just like, well, they people expect, cigar content on a cigar show. I mean, heaven, where would they possibly get that idea? But the thing is, this is why I mix it up. This is why I bring people, different people of different walks of life on, because then you learn different things. I mean, we don't all sit around the lounge and talk about cigars all day. When we're sitting in the lounge, you might talk about cigars for about 5 minutes, and then you're talking about sports and politics and God knows whatever else, stuff that I don't really want. Some of those things I don't want to talk about on the show. But the point is, there are other topics discussed. And in this case, your career, your profession in emergency management, it seemed interesting and it seemed whatever. And then it became very topical because the United States was nailed by 2 big hurricanes.
Well, and if you recall, when we talked about this, I said that if anybody out there was hoping that FEMA or that the government was going to come in and save them when something happens, that they were going to be mistaken.
And look at where we're at.
And that's exactly where we're at. And I think a lot of people fall victim to misinformation or disinformation that they hear online. When I can tell you, I very often can't get 5 people on the same fucking Zoom call, much less together to come up with a conspiracy of any sort. But I mean, I think it was a good opportunity to maybe expose some people to a world that they may not have previously considered, maybe learn a thing or two. And now the tables have turned, and here I am
having
smoking a cigar that I, for the most part, lit myself. Those of you that are on YouTube probably saw Nick come in with the assist at the very end. Just a
little
touch.
bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. And now here I am.
You are. And are you enjoying this experience so far?
Yeah, well, and it's interesting. I have to still think about not inhaling. That's a deliberate thing that I have to do.
Or you'll do it once and you're going to really hate yourself.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, don't do that.
I already said I don't want to puke on your show.
I really don't want you to. But I'll also say this. I didn't start you off with like the flavored and infused thing. I didn't start you off with the super light, you're smoking practically air, Connecticut wrapper kind of thing. It's like I went right at it with a little guy, but it's got some flavor to it,
Sure.
And I figured, screw it, let's do it, and I didn't want to I also didn't want to get like a big one because if you absolutely hated it, I didn't want to waste it. You know?
Of course. No.
But this being
Makes
a little guy,
sense.
it's like,
it's a starter.
Exactly. It's a good starter.
Yeah. It's like baby steps. You remember What About Bob?
Yeah.
You remember that movie, Baby Step? I use baby steps all the time in real life. I actually do. Think about all right, I'm getting, I mean, like I said, working in government.
Yeah.
Right? The wheels move very slowly sometimes, and I have to learn to manage my expectations. So I take those baby steps.
Baby steps. So in this case, you're taking a baby step with the Villiger Export, which, we've had Renee on the show before, and Renee, he made sure that everybody at Pulpit Fest got some of these, and the reception has been very positive. I think people, kind of were impressed by them. And the thing is, the nice thing with these cigars is, unlike a lot of cigars, these don't have to be humidified. Like, these have been sitting on my kitchen counter.
Nice.
And so you can throw a box in your glove box in your car. So that way, in case like you're driving around.
These are good starters.
And you just don't have a cigar with you. And to
Yeah.
your point,
You
exactly.
don't have a cutter.
You don't
I don't
have
know what
to
a
worry
cutter,
about
yeah.
cutting it. You don't have to worry
Yeah.
about a humidor. All you need is a lighter and a box of these in the car, and you're set.
Very nice.
Yeah,
I can appreciate that.
exactly. So, yeah. Now in terms of like flavor notes, I mean, I'm getting cigar for the most
Yeah, I was
part.
going to say, please don't ask me to talk about
No,
what I taste because,
no.
like,
I mean,
I'm not a wine. Well, I'm not really much of a drinker at all.
Yeah.
But certainly not wine. And it's like I
Yeah.
can't tell flavor profiles or no.
Yeah. But what's nice about these two is generally you get, I mean, the website said 15 minutes out of one of these guys. I think that's
Okay.
if you're like just barreling at
Going
it,
to
just
town.
going to town on it.
Yeah.
I think my dad got about 35 minutes out of one, you
Okay.
know, so you can get a decent amount of time, but it's not something that's going to take up like all of your time. And,
Sure.
and I've kind of been liking that lately. So like when I was up at the New England Cigar Expo, you know, I had a couple of little Corona cigars. Mr. Jonathan gifted me a HVC hot cake. Right? Was it a hot cake or Black Friday? Let's check the list. This is why I keep the list. It was a HVC hot cake Maduro half Corona, and it was just a little guy. You know, I got quite a bit.
A short stack.
Little short, exactly. It was a short
Makes
stack.
perfect sense.
And I got a lot of time out of that. And then it followed up with a Zeno Nicaragua half Corona that Ed Sullivan gave me. And then that turned into me buying a tin of those Zeno Nicaraguas because I was so happy with it. It's a little guy, and it's the Zeno Nicaragua, but it's already got the punch. So there's 5 of them in the tin. It's already got the punch. So again, pre-cut. You don't have to worry about cutting it.
Yeah.
And it's just a fantastic little cigar. You get about half an hour, you know, out of it, and it's great. It's great when you have a limited amount of time. I've used it driving around, you know, trips that I normally wouldn't have a cigar anymore. It's like now I've got that. So it's
That's what I was thinking, like an afternooner.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you got the little the hot cake Corona, half Corona, you got the Zeno Nicaragua half Corona, you got the Villiger Export. I used to always default to Toscano, which is also good for that. But this kind of mixes it up. It gives you some variety, some options, and I like that. It's fun. So, especially as we're getting into the colder months.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Well, and I mean, I can see too how, like, hanging out in what would you call this recording area?
Well, for right now, we're hanging out in the garage of love.
The garage of love.
We've gone from the ice tent of love now to the garage of love. Eventually, we're going to make it to the smoke shed of love, and
the
that'll
smoke
be
shed of love.
That'll be yeah.
Well, I mean, you're kind of missing out on an opportunity. You got to call it the shack of love, the love shack, right? Like the smoke shack, baby.
Get
the
my
smoke shack.
I was gonna get my B-52 on and just be like, it's the
Yeah.
smoke shack, baby, smoke shack, baby, smoke shack. Yeah. Oh my God.
Folks lining up, just to smoke down.
Smoke down. Oh my
Smoke
God.
this down quick because it's cold.
Oh my God.
But no, like I can appreciate the social aspect.
That was good.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
good. I like that. Lining up to just smoke
See,
down.
folks, it ain't all doom and gloom with Cherry Chernobyl. I can be a little
Oh my God.
cheerful from time to time.
God. Yeah, no, and that you know, that's I don't remember what we were talking about.
Oh, I was just talking about like the sitting
I'm sitting here thinking of the B-52.
sitting here in the garage of love.
Yes.
Not a rock lobster in sight, but
No.
I can appreciate the social aspect.
There is a rock
of smoking and,
Turtle
okay.
and a rock frog behind that green tub there. I did find some rather little lawn related
tchotchkes,
accoutrement
Yeah.
that the previous owner had left. And so I have a little rock frog and a little rock turtle over there, but no rock lobster. I hate rock lobster. I'm not a big B-52s fan, just in general. I'm just like, oh, God. You know? Anyway, whatever. But, yeah. So,
working on that smoke shack of love.
exactly. It'll happen. But for right now, we're doing fine with the garage. I don't know.
I'm digging it.
I will say, at some point, it's going to get too cold out for the garage door to be up like this, though. And
Yeah.
that's when we're going to have to figure out something for this winter. I'm thinking I may have some space out that back door right there for the tent. And then I may have to run the extension line or the extension cable from inside the garage through the window there. Out to the tent, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll make it work.
That'll work. Oh,
I'm
totally.
gonna find a way. So, what is it? Life finds a way.
Yeah.
In this case, smoking cigars
Smokers.
find a way.
Smokers will find a way.
They do. You know, we do.
I've known a lot of, kind of MacGyver stoners, as it were, that have come up with some truly kind of ingenious ways to make things happen. I've seen it. I get it.
Okay. I mean, yeah. When you want things to happen, you make it happen. Now, speaking of making things happen, you had asked me earlier, what are we going to talk about? And I hadn't really prepped you for the whole, throwing Dave under the bus for hey, this is why we talked about emergency management, because who knew that 2 hurricanes were going to hit? But, whatever.
Yeah.
But you had gone on to Chat GPT.
Oh.
You don't have it with
No,
you.
I don't have it with me, but you know
you
what?
left it inside, didn't
I
you?
did. I left it inside. But
sorry, I just totally threw
well,
that at you too.
I didn't know we were actually going to talk about it.
Oh,
So
okay,
we
okay.
were having a conversation earlier about some of the applications of Chat GPT.
Mm-hmm. And admittedly, I've used it for show topics before.
Right.
Yeah.
But I use it more in professional applications. I've used Chat GPT to help me write cover letters
Yeah.
for jobs, for my last 2 jobs, actually.
Okay.
I've used it to help me write grant applications. I've used it to help me write letters, especially formal letters when I'm pissed off. Because, historically, or with emails, right?
Yeah.
That was always my rule. Okay. I get an email and I'm like, this motherfucker. Okay. So I hit reply and I start typing. I'm like, no.
No.
Cherry, don't send that email.
Yeah, no.
Don't do it. Sit on it for a few hours. Come back.
See,
Change your tone.
I don't even write it in the email program. I write my first draft where I know I am just fucking shitty in the notes program on my phone. And then
That's a better idea.
I revise all my drafts in the notes program. And then when I have it to where it's how I want to send it, that's when I just copy,
You copy
paste it into the email, and then fire out the email. But I don't do anything outside the notes, because then that way nobody else can. There's no accidental sends,
So it's funny that you say that, because I actually had an incident kind of like that once. Where I had gotten, this was a couple of jobs ago, so this has been a number of years. The other party involved in this has long since retired, so I don't think
we can talk about this.
We can talk about this for sure. This gal just got on my fucking nerves to the nth degree.
Okay.
Without giving away too much about where I worked or what it was I was doing, she was very cliche in a bad way. We'll say that.
Okay.
And she sent me a snarky email about something or other. And I send this email to another person we work with. And I'm like, listen, you need to come get your girl. Because obviously she has no idea how things work around here.
Uh-oh.
And I just start talking shit.
Uh-huh.
Send. No big deal. Go about my day. About 3 minutes later, ping, get an email. I don't know who you meant to send this to.
But you sent it to the topic.
But you sent it to me. I fucking hit reply.
Oh, no.
And I sent all of this right back to the guy.
Oh, fuck.
Let me just say that was a pucker moment, right? Where you just... Oh,
yeah, you're like, didn't mean to do that.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
So I had a couple options, right? What do you do in this situation? Most people, you put your foot right in your mouth. You put your tail between your legs, your hat in your hand. And
apologize.
You kind of, you know what? You're right. I fucked up. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
That was wrong of me. And that's what I was going to do. But then I thought about it for a minute. And I was like, you know what?
I don't
Because
apologize.
ultimately the issue at hand, no, I'm fucking right. She actually doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. And actually, this dude does need to come get his girl. Well, and that was the thing is in her response. She says, oh, and P.S., whose girl am I? So I fucking told her, yeah, you're right. I meant to send this to Joe Schmo. And yeah, you're his girl. And she says, yeah, aren't we all? No, we are not all.
No.
Just you.
No.
But yeah, so I doubled down on this email and was like, well, listen, I'm just saying, no, I didn't mean to send that to you. That's my bad. But I'm just saying this is how things are done over here.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're Joe Schmo's girl.
Uh-huh.
So, sometimes, even when it backfires, it still works out. But maybe putting those in notes, putting them in Word and copy and paste.
It prevents problems.
You can learn from my experience. See, I'm still teaching.
There you
still
go.
teaching
Still
things,
teaching.
you
Still
know.
teaching.
But yeah, so Chat GPT. I'm just gonna very briefly come back to this for a minute because basically I fucked it up. So we had been talking about Chat GPT earlier, and so I just put in some prompts for Chat GPT to come up with some taglines for the show.
Oh God!
But I didn't think we were actually going to talk about it, so I left the list inside.
Oh.
But we can come back around to this because I can look this shit up on my phone.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, we can just do it again.
Just know that I'll be working on that.
Okay. Well, while you're working on that, why don't we go ahead and do this? It's time to fly high with Blackbird Cigars. Blackbird Cigars offers you remarkable quality using the most delicate and finest tobacco to always ensure that you're receiving unsurpassed cigars. Blackbird Cigars strives to give you undoubted repeating flavor for every cigar you smoke and impressive quality so that you can always expect greatness. Check out their website for a full list of stores carrying Blackbird Cigars and give them a test flight. Blackbird Cigars can't clip our wings. So, now...
That's a nice sounding commercial.
You know, I thought so. Didn't use AI
that
for
music, that sounds epic. Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. So today we're going to talk about John Evans. And John Evans is a 6', 6" British man.
Woo!
Who balanced a 352-pound mini car on his head for 33 seconds without using his hands.
Good grief.
So he put a 352-pound mini car on his head for over half a minute without using his hands. Now, calling himself a professional head balancer, Evans has already broken 25 records in 11 Guinness World Record categories. He previously balanced motorcycles, boats, washing machines, people, and beer kegs, but the car is by far his heaviest and most dangerous record-breaking attempt to date. Evans credits his neck, which has an astonishing width of 24 inches, with allowing him to achieve his balancing acts. So, be like John Evans and Blackbird Cigars, and don't let anybody clip your wings. Or, break your neck.
Wow.
24-inch width neck. That's a 2-foot width on his neck.
Good grief.
That is a beefy dude.
That's a thick neck.
That's what I'm saying. No, that dude, he's a thick-necked British guy.
Okay. An extra large pizza is typically 16 to 18 inches in diameter.
Yeah. That dude's neck is bigger around, like in width than an extra large pizza. That's nuts.
My face right now, I'm just like,
I know,
what
right?
the? So when you were describing him, I was thinking, okay, 6'6". All right, so this dude is like Lurch from the Addams Family. And then I'm picturing him with like a little mini car.
This dude
but now that you talk about this neck.
He's big. This is a big dude. He probably would have been in like that strongman competition at the Expo.
Oh, yeah.
Like this dude's balancing a fucking car on his head.
Yeah.
I mean, this dude can probably pick up some heavy shit too.
And so, I mean, the neck obviously is pivotal to this. But, I mean, his skull, like...
That's
okay, so
also
he's
important.
6'6". I'm like wondering, like, does this gentleman have some sort of genetic mutation that makes his bones especially thick? Because how is that not like crush his skull?
Got me.
You know,
I
just read the other day.
Maybe.
This is somewhat related.
Bet he's got a small dick though. I don't know why.
Sir, that's a thick neck.
How's
How's that dick though?
Anyway, what were you doing the other day? What now?
No, I was reading about break dancers.
Oh yeah, you sent me this.
Yes, developing like tumors across. Like I could imagine like a callus, right?
Yeah.
Like a callus would develop from spinning on your
Spinning
head.
on the
No,
head.
no, tumors. They like a cap, almost like a cap covering that whole area that you spin on is one big tumor. Like
That's messed
so.
up.
How does this guy balance cars and motorcycles on his head?
He's
taking it all in the neck.
He's got a giant. It's not a tumor. You know, I don't know. I mean, he's taking it all in the neck. I don't know. It's better him than me.
Wow.
In a lot of ways. There.
Could you imagine this guy like commit some horrible crime and they're like, nah, it's the death penalty for you, mate. How are you going to hang that fellow?
Well,
You got to take him out by firing squad.
I was going to say,
you
you're
can't
not hanging
him.
I was going to say, you're going to need 8 feet of rope just to get around his neck. You know?
No, nobody alive has seen him in a necktie.
Oh, my God. No, I know. The extra long ones stop like right here because it's like it takes everything just
and
to get
he's
around his neck.
6'6".
Yeah. Oh, my God. He's doing nothing but like bolo ties.
I mean,
made
I'm
of
just
actual
thinking,
rope.
how do you end up in that career, right? You're like, oh, shit, I got a strong neck.
You know, when you got a 2
You
foot
fight
wide
like a
neck,
giraffe.
When you got a 2 foot wide neck, you know, honestly, I would think that there's probably some guys inevitably going to come up to you and be like, you know, I bet you could balance shit on your head and be really, really good at it. You know,
somebody like me coming out in the alley with the cigar. Hey, kid.
Yeah,
you know what you could do with that neck?
Fucking Barnum and Bailey, you know, just like, hey, we got a career for you in the freak show. Balance this motorcycle on your head. Okay, sir. You know, I don't know what the hell.
I don't know.
I don't know why he became like a little kid voice or something.
Well, I mean, you gotta get them when they're young. You know.
Ooh, maybe that's
you got to
it.
train that neck into him.
Neck,
yeah, he's got to grow into that neck.
Yeah.
With the right guidance, you know, I'm just picturing
proper exercises. He's over there just swirling that head around for hours.
Have you ever seen a giraffes fight?
No.
Oh, they fucking swing. Oh, those necks are all muscle. They swing them around and will just crash into each other.
Okay.
That's what this fella's doing when he's not balancing motorcycles.
You know, that's what we ought to have on like ESPN is like animal fights. I don't want to watch animals dying, but I want to watch animal like boxing. So like have the giraffe like swinging the neck, have like the kangaroos doing the boxing.
As
and
soon
all
as
that
you said
shit and
animal
everything.
fighting, what popped into my head is this video, and I'm sure a lot of you out there have seen it. Very popular. Where this guy in Australia is in his truck and he's looking for his dog.
Oh yeah, and the dog's getting
the
by
kangaroos
the kangaroo.
got it in a headlock, and he just boop right. But I mean,
oh yeah,
whoo, buddy, that kangaroo. Nope. There are some things in this world that I take one look at and I say absolutely fucking not. The first one are robot dogs. Those robot police dogs.
Oh, robot. I thought you said robot, and I was like,
no,
what is that?
Robots.
Robot
dogs.
Yeah.
No, there's just something inherently about them that creeps me out. Like, it makes me feel guilty when I've done nothing wrong. Like, I've seen them at trade shows at like conferences and stuff, and I'm like, oh fuck no. No.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's Australia. I mean,
and that's the second, are fucking kangaroos. See a kangaroo? No. I mean, I've never been to Australia, but seeing those videos,
everything in Australia wants to fucking kill you. Like every critter in Australia has the want and desire and ability to kill you. I mean, you've got friggin' bugs down there that are huge. You got sharks in the ocean that are huge. You got kangaroos that, look cute. They want to beat the shit out of you. Well, even koalas. It's like I've seen some mean-looking koalas and shit. Now, I will say I have seen somebody here local. It's been a number of years. They had a pet wallaby. And by God, that was sweet. That was delightful. I like the pet wallaby.
Little Rocco.
Yeah.
They name it Rocco?
No.
Like Rocco's Modern Life?
But it looks like just like a little baby mini kangaroo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could get behind that idea. Behind that idea.
Yeah.
And the quokkas. They're delightfully cute. Now, granted, their defense mechanism when a predator's attacking is to throw their babies at the predator and run away. So like they're not great parents, but they are very cute.
So you can't pour from an empty pitcher, Nick.
Just saying, they're very, very cute. They just are not good parents. But yeah, I like the quokkas. But by and large, Australia it kind of wants to kill you.
Well, and what doesn't want to kill you at least wants to inconvenience you. So years ago, I studied abroad. And one of the other students in the program was from Australia. And we went to some random museum together. And they had tons of taxidermy from different parts of the world. So we were pointing out animals from each other's homes. And I was showing her, like, American raccoons. And she was like, just thought it was delightful. Like, oh, that's the cutest little... So I'm like,
I had a raccoon right there. I was sitting here the other night.
Should have brought him on the show.
I should have. I was sitting here the other night, and like all of a sudden, I looked down, and there's this little critter just staring at me as I was sitting here smoking a cigar, and I just go, "Hi!" And it turned around and left, and I'm just like, I bet that was a little bastard that was climbing all over my chairs and stuff
totally.
out on the patio. So
he's like, "Hey man, you got any like trash in here?"
See, that's the thing. I'm wondering if the people that lived in this house before me, if they fed critters.
Did you read about the lady in Washington State that had raccoons?
No.
Like aggressive. This is a great story. So for like 35 years, this lady would feed this little group of little docile, friendly, cute little raccoons, and I guess word got out. Because more raccoons started showing up.
That tends to happen that way.
But they were like more aggressive raccoons.
It tends to happen that way.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, they were like, oh, we'll just knock these little bitch-ass raccoons over and take all this food. So this lady's house ends up basically getting swarmed by like over 100 raccoons.
Holy shit.
Like she couldn't leave her house without these raccoons hounding her for fucking food.
Oh my gosh.
So she calls for help and they're like, hey, stop feeding the raccoons. She's like, I tried to call people to come and like haul them out. Trappers wanted $500 an animal and I can't afford that. And they're like, well, did you try not feeding them for a while?
Yeah.
And she was like, well, I guess I could do that. And then they left.
Surprise, surprise.
But all the talk about raccoons, I'm just saying, don't feed it. It doesn't matter how cute it is.
It's not even just raccoon. Wild animals in general. Like we had a bear go roaming through here not too terribly long ago. It was a little black bear goes roaming through the area. And my God, my Facebook feed is lit up with people that are like, what's the phrase? It's something like, if it's not a friend, why is it friend shaped? And I'm just like, what the fuck? But they're out there wanting to fucking take selfies with the bear and take, and
I
do
gave
this
it
and
all
whatever.
of my picnic
and it's
baskets.
like, yeah, it's like they're wanting to feed this thing. And it's like, no, people, just let the bear go. Let the bear roam through your area. It's going to continue on its path, and it's going to get out of the area, and it's not going to be, but it's going to become a problem if you feed it.
You're going to get it fucking killed like you did Harambe, okay?
Right.
And don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on Harambe.
Dicks out.
But,
anyway.
Dicks out, everybody, for
I
Harambe.
still, for the life of me, don't understand how it became dicks out for Harambe. Like, why are we honoring Harambe, a male gorilla,
Yeah.
by whipping out dicks? I don't understand.
The
internet is a weird place.
It is a sign of respect.
What?
Yes, it's a sign of respect. Dicks out. Like, but I also think it's like if you're going all out.
Okay.
You're going balls out. You're going balls to the wall. Dicks out. Going hard. We're going real hard for Harambe.
Maybe I'm misremembering because it's been a minute. Didn't a kid fall into the Harambe enclosure and they had to kill Harambe to save the kid?
A kid climbed the fucking fence
but that's
and got in. But yeah, and then Harambe snatched this little kid up and was like, "Oh, if it's not a friend, why is it friend shaped?"
Exactly.
And then they fucking killed him.
But that's the thing. Like, it was a save the kid kind of moment, right?
Well, it was, but I mean,
Okay. I'm just saying.
They kind of did him dirty. It wasn't his fault.
Well, that's the thing.
Know?
History has been kind to Harambe. We've made Harambe this like hero.
Yeah.
And in all fairness, the world did kind of fall apart ever since Harambe died. But it's kind of weird that like Harambe really wasn't the hero in that story. Although the kid was a fucking idiot.
He was just being himself.
He was.
He was just doing his thing.
He was being Harambe.
And the kid was probably doing his
dumb.
thing too. Where were the kid's parents?
Now that's the question. Where were the children's parents allowing this child to climb the fence of a gorilla enclosure? I mean, that's not something that just happens like super quick.
Yeah, come on, pay attention.
Like, yeah.
Before you get a gorilla killed.
Oh, God.
But anyway, so I'm going to trace this back a minute. So we're talking about raccoons, right? I show the Australian. Here's some American. Oh, look, there's a taxidermied squirrel. There's a raccoon. There's a turkey, shit like that. We go to the Australia section, and she's like, "Oh, I hate these birds." And of course, I don't remember what kind of bird it was. And I'm like, "Oh, it just looks like a regular ass bird, like an Australian pigeon." Oh no, these fuckers will swoop down onto your car and pick out all of the weather stripping around your windows.
What?
Yeah, with their beaks, they'll pick at it and fuck up all your weather stripping. Like, that's just a thing that happens in Australia.
Oh my God.
So like, what isn't trying to kill you is still trying to ruin your day.
Well, in all fairness, we have squirrels and shit getting all up in your engine and fucking chewing on wires.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I still don't know what critter died in the fucking engine of my car.
I mean, it could have been a squirrel.
I'm just saying, when I went to Valvoline and they were all like, something died in there, but we can't get to it, either above or below.
Can't get to
No, the guy.
It is entombed so the in
way
your engine.
I pulled into the Valvoline, and it's the whole stay in your car and they'll change your oil real quick. So I had the hood pop, and the dude goes over there, he unscrews something. All of a sudden, I see, like, the hood's pops, but you've got that little gap.
Yeah.
And I see him and the other dude up top go like that. And I'm like, what the fuck? So they're talking to the guys below because it's got the bay underneath where they're underneath the vehicle.
Sure.
And they're talking about something, and the guy comes over to the window and goes, and he's like, "Hey man," he's like, so I don't know what it is, but something definitely died in your engine. And we can't get to it. He's like, we can't see it from top, and the guys below can't see it and get to it either. So we don't know what it is. And he's like, but it doesn't seem to be like hurting anything. And I'm like,
oh.
And I'm like, how do you know? And he goes, oh, the smell. He said it definitely has an odor. And he's like, we can smell it. He's like, but we just can't get to it. He said, so if something kind of falls out of your vehicle, he said, it may not be a part. He's like, just kind of like be aware. And I'm like, what the fuck? But I have no idea.
They're like, sir, when you've been in this line of work as long as we have, you come to recognize the smell of death.
That's the thing. I mean, it could be... Oh, my God. I mean, this is back when I was living in the duplex. So, I mean, this could have been squirrel. This could have been mouse. This could have been kitten. This could have been a full-grown cat, too. I mean, I would think that they would have seen a larger animal, so I'm kind of attributing it to a smaller one.
And if they can't get to it, I mean, not to be too grim, but what I assume has happened is that the animal died and then due to time and or heat and
It's
or
all over
natural
the place in there.
decomposition, it just kind of sunk in between.
Yeah.
In the
Went into its
innards.
Went into its gelatinous state.
Yeah, it kind of fell apart a little.
Yeah. But
and now it's just in there.
Well, I mean, I would think at this point it's probably burned away. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's mentioned it since, and I don't get any odors in the vehicle. But yeah, it's
rest in peace, little guy.
Yeah, I would say whatever it was, man, it got all up in there. But yeah, we have that here. I mean, they're not eating our weather stripping, but they're getting in your engines and dying.
Yeah, that's true. I read once that some of the coating in the wiring in engines is made in part with soy, and that attracts. I read it a long time ago, so I can't give you a source or anything like that. But I remember reading it, and that's sticking with me because the job I was working at the time, there were a lot of like company cars, and they kept getting hit by squirrels, and it was like, well, what the fuck? So, people started really digging into it, and that was what came out of it.
I wonder if that's why critters like chewing on the charging cables for like Apple iPhones. Because back when I had cats, and this is back when I was married, I mean, I can't tell you how many of those stupid white, cable right there, those stupid white cables, my cats would
I have
gnaw
to hide mine from my cats.
My cats would gnaw on them constantly. And I don't know why, but I wonder if that's what it is. I wonder if it's just something. I figured they must taste good to a cat, because whatever. I mean,
some satisfies some weird desire to chew on
they're
random
fucking cats.
shit.
Lord knows, but anyway. Well, let's do this now.
All right.
It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by
Villiger.
Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarello manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family-owned and operated. Head over to VilligerCigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation.
What do you think of your Villiger experience?
I can't compare it to any other cigar experience, but
Well, no.
I'm enjoying myself. So,
Right.
Like I said before, there were little chunks of time in my life where I smoked cigarettes, and there was always, like random in between moments where you think, yeah, let me get a head off of that real quick.
Yeah.
And it was always a terrible idea. I always had a headache, felt nauseous, like, oh God. Now I know why I never did that again. And there was a part of me that was just aware of that maybe that could be a possibility.
Being a little trepidatious.
But I'm not experiencing that at all. I don't have a headache. I don't feel like lightheaded. Like
Good.
It's not like a head rush, but I'm enjoying it.
Well, good.
I feel a little more awake now than I did.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I have
That's good.
early mornings.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. I am catching you near
was-
the end of the day here.
which is totally fine. But I was thinking early before the show, like, I hope I'm not like, hope I'm an engaging enough guest. But now I feel more
We're
like
fine.
awake and with it, and
Yeah.
no, I'm digging it.
Good. Well, I just put mine out because I was down to the end there. But, these Villiger Exports, for the price on them, they're fantastic. And the burn on it was great. The construction on it was, straight burn line all the way through. The smoke production on it, you guys on YouTube saw. It's been a little smokestack this whole time, and the draw on it is fantastic. Flavor wise, look, you're getting tobacco. You're getting cigar, you're getting tobacco. It's nothing that's going to be like the fanciest of things, per se. But it's a good cigar. I think it's a great little smoke to have on hand for short sessions or introducing new people to cigars that maybe don't want to have a full 6x50 Toro.
Yeah, I would say this is a good, baby steps.
You've seen some of the cigars that I've, if I would have given you something like that,
Yeah.
you'd have been like, what the fuck,
yeah.
But like this guy, this is a good little starter guy.
This is chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can dig this.
So it's the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, and this is where we talk about what we've watched lately. And, you and I both collectively, not together, but we did see the same movie, and I figure that's a topic we can discuss. So this past weekend, I took my son to the drive-in for the first time, and he promptly passed out within the first 15 minutes of the movie. Admittedly, my son is not a night owl, so, excuse me. I probably should have.
He says, well,
yeah, I know, right? My son is not a night owl, and I probably should have expected that he wasn't going to last. But, it was something to do.
Oh.
But we went and saw The Wild Robot.
Yes.
And you've seen The Wild Robot.
Yes. I took my son to see The Wild Robot.
Now, you're familiar with the books.
Correct. So before I knew it was going to be made into a movie, earlier this year, I read the first book over a series of many nights to my son, and then realized, oh, whoa, this is actually a trilogy. So we read all 3 books.
Okay.
And as we were wrapping up, is when I learned that they were making it into a movie. So we've been waiting all summer for this to come out. Very exciting moment for the two of us.
Yeah.
Personally, I loved it. Obviously, off the bat, I'm going to say I loved it. But I will say that the books are so much better. And that's
they
usually,
always are. But...
I know, but like so much better. Even in terms of like Roz the robot, like the main character, they change aspects of her character for the movie that affect it in a meaningful way, I will say. So like a lot of people that have seen the movie but have not read the books have talked about, well, you haven't said this to me, but I've heard other people say they're like, oh, it made me cry so much. Like parents especially, right? Like, oh, it made me tear up. Like a lot of moms crying, and because there's, there are some heartfelt moments in there.
Oh, totally.
But for me, I didn't experience that watching the movie. But when I read the book, I had to stop. Like before I got to the end of the first book, like as we're reading, I had to stop reading because I was crying so hard. And of course, my son is looking at me like I'm an idiot. And he's like, Mom, why are you crying at this right now?
It's like,
so I'm,
you don't understand.
I know. I'm like trying to explain.
See, that's the thing. And this is something that, like, if you've got kids, this is something to think about. Like if you're going to see this movie, I feel like what I liked about it is that it worked on a couple of different levels. So you have, the kid movie aspect with, so real quick synopsis.
Sure.
This robot, it ends up on this island. Through happenstance. I think it falls out through a tsunami or something like that.
Yeah, like there's a ship that sinks.
Yeah.
And
And it's like a helper robot. Like it's this robot that's designed.
Yes.
You give it a task, it helps. It does the
Yes.
task, and then whatever.
And that's its purpose.
Yeah. Well, it falls out, and there's an accident, and it ends up having to take care of a egg that then produces a little gosling, a little baby goose.
Yep.
So then this robot becomes the mom of this little baby goose.
Yes.
And there's like a fox that's helping to raise this goose with the robot. But the fox is also trying to eat the goose at various points, but whatever.
Yeah.
So it's funny. But
yeah.
But anyway, so it's interacting with all these other animals on the island and stuff. And eventually the goose has to fly away with the other geese and has to grow up and move on, kind of move on and go off and migrate for the winter and everything. And so the thing is, there's a couple of different paths for this movie. You have the story of this little goose that is the runt of the litter, and has to overcome. And so there's the good messages for kids about, hey, you can do whatever they're doing. There's nothing that stops you from doing what they're doing, and things of that nature, especially, for kids that maybe have some challenges, be it physical or mental challenges. It's good for them to know that, hey, there's nothing stopping you from doing what they're doing. You just need to push a little harder. You need to, kind of buckle down and do go at it a little bit harder than the others. Exactly. Adapt. But also there's the parenting aspect. That's the part that I didn't necessarily expect coming into this. It's
That's what got me.
Coming away from this movie and I'm just like, holy shit, it's all about, like how, like at one point there's the line in the movie about the robot's like, I don't understand or I don't know how to do this project, meaning like raise this goose. And the little possum like says to the robot, like, nobody does.
Nobody does.
It's like you figure it out.
So in the book there's that conversation is had with the goose.
Okay.
So in the movie, the gosling is kept separate from the other goose most of the time. They don't accept him.
Okay.
But in the book, it's not quite like that. There are some geese that kind of help him find his way a little. But that's a whole spiel in the book is where Roz is talking to the goose and she's like, I don't know how to be a mother. And the goose says, oh, well, you just have to, take care of him and love him and coddle him, but not too much, and teach him how to fly and walk and talk and be social and be a good person and keep him fed and make sure he sleeps. And that's all there is to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's
all
there is.
That's all there is. That's all you got to do.
There is to it.
That's it. But yeah, like all of that definitely resonated with me. And, the idea too that, you talk about kids and, having to kind of overcome challenges, but also like the dynamics of a family, what a family looks like.
Yeah. Because it's all different.
Yeah, because in the beginning, all of the animals think this robot is a monster.
Yeah.
And the same is true in the book. And that's part of her process of becoming wild is she has to learn how to talk like the animals and behave like the animals so that she can survive in their world. But yeah, like the idea of, families looking different and, it's all good things. It's incredibly wholesome. And they might be making more.
I would say there was a report that they might be doing a sequel. So,
which I love.
That there was more to it than just what we saw in the movies.
Yeah, I highly recommend reading the book. So for reference, my son is almost 8. And I read all 3, read a couple of chapters a night. It was great. He loved it. I loved it. And then we got to go see the movie. It was like a cute little, mother-son, little fun night out at the movies. We went and saw it opening night.
Well, good.
Yeah, so it was nice. It wasn't at the drive-in, but that was my concern, that mine would fall asleep.
Yep, you did. But, that's all right. And then there were so many people all around. I couldn't fire up a cigar.
Oh.
So that was my thing. So I knew my kid wasn't going to last through 2 movies because the second movie, the second movie that was playing was Transformers, the new animated one.
Oh,
and I kind of wanted to see that.
Yeah.
But I ended up leaving about 5 minutes into it because kiddo was passed out and he didn't want to sleep in the back end of the car. I don't know why. For some reason, he wanted nothing to do with sleeping in the back end of the car. He was sitting in the chair you're in right now, actually. And, he was curled up in a lawn chair. So he was hurting my neck and back just looking at him. Because this is not a comfortable chair to, be, on your side, curled up with a pillow and everything.
Hang on now. How strong is his neck?
Not because his neck's not 2 fucking feet wide. I'll say that much.
But I'm just saying, if you get him the right training, he may be able to balance motorcycles on his head.
That's what I, as a father, totally have ambitions for, is for my son to grow up and be a professional neck balancer. Yes, that is exactly what I hope for my son, is neck balancing.
I'm just saying you have to have options.
I guess it is an option. It is definitely an option.
You have to look for jobs that AI can't steal from you, and
that's true.
And
AI
jobs
is not going to be balancing shit on its head.
Recession-proof. Eventually, when streaming services are already becoming more expensive to the point where I'm thinking about getting rid of them more and more over time. Let's go back to the simple days when you could watch a 6'6" man.
Sorry, I thought I saw something moving out there.
Balance a car.
I don't know.
Is it
gone,
by chance 100 hungry raccoons?
No, it may have been one raccoon or a cat. I don't know which.
Oh, okay.
I have seen both out that garage door. So Lord knows. No, to your point, I've thought about cutting back on some streaming services. I mean, there's a lot of them, and you can't watch them. And I've been so freaking busy.
Right.
Now, we are coming into the winter, and I tend to do a lot more watching in the winter than I do in, like, the nicer parts of the year.
Sure, yeah.
And also, sooner rather than later, I'm going to get an outlet installed in my bedroom where then I can plug in my TV. Because right now, where my TV's at, where the optimum spot for my TV, there's no fucking outlet, which is the weirdest freaking thing. That wall should totally have an outlet. And
it's poor
it
planning.
doesn't. It really is. But, damn it, Pam. Anyway,
she left her frogs and turtles and
but she
no viable outlets.
Didn't put an outlet in the bedroom. Anyway, that would help. But no, I've got a running list on my phone of things to watch, but I don't know. Some of it I just don't care about.
Well, some of it I got for my kid, like Disney Plus, right? I got for him, but even he doesn't watch it that much.
Exactly. I have it, but Max never wants to watch it.
Yeah.
I have heard, admittedly, I've heard really good things about the Agatha All Along or whatever, the new Marvel show.
Okay. I've heard of it, but I haven't heard anything about it.
The spin-off from WandaVision.
I am so far behind on all of those. I couldn't possibly keep up.
I've also kind of lost a lot of interest. And this is coming from a mega nerd. I mean,
right.
You're looking at the one wall of comics.
Yeah.
There's more over there. I mean, it's like, this is coming from a mega nerd. I've kind of lost interest in a lot of it, but, for what it's worth. But I've heard good things about that show, so I'm like, fuck. I'll probably watch it, but I'm kind of letting episodes bank up. Kind of like The Penguin on HBO. I'm letting episodes bank up so that I can just
I haven't
seen
seen that either.
Yeah.
But I want to.
I want to.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly. I just want to binge it.
But I just want to binge it. I don't want to like have to wait. I just want to binge it. So I'm just kind of letting episodes bank up.
Don't waste my time. Let me take a whole Saturday to do nothing and watch the show.
Precisely. Precisely.
That's how I like to live my life, HBO. Get it together, please.
All I want to do. But anyway, have you watched or anything? I mean, The Wild Robot was my big thing for this.
Oh, that was a good one.
Otherwise, it's been Thomas and Storybots, because I've had my kid. I even had Max extra this past weekend. Mm-hmm. So, like, with having him extra, it was just that much less time for me to watch adult TV. So, yeah. Exactly.
Oh, yeah. So I have also been spending more time with my son, and he's been on a big SpongeBob kick. So I've been watching a lot of SpongeBob SquarePants, which I had not seen previously. But in terms of like grown-up content, I actually saw the second Joker movie.
Oh yeah,
fairly recently,
I saw
which
that.
I'm still trying to formulate some of my thoughts on that. So I'm just gonna say, off the cuff, I'm not really a musical fan. So like I can understand, and I like the music that was in it. Like, oh, that's a good song. That's a good song. I like that song too. But in terms of musicals in general, I'm not the biggest fan of them. So I was kind of hoping, I don't know, it would be a little more like the first one.
Look, here's the thing. I don't dislike it because it was a musical.
That's just kind of what lost me a little bit.
Well, you're not the only one.
Yeah.
But my biggest gripe with it is that after watching it and processing, like the story and everything, what was the point? Why did we have to have this? Other than the fact that the first one made like $1 billion or whatever the hell.
Well,
other than that, why did this movie exist?
Yeah, like that's what I was kind of thinking. Like, I don't want to give anything away, but it kind of felt like the first one was leading towards something. The first one, you're kind of seeing his mental decline, and you're seeing his life get increasingly worse until you hit that kind of flashpoint.
And it's a statement about the world and how we treat people with mental illness and kind of and everything else.
It was,
but yet, like the second one, it's like there was none of that. This was a money grab.
Yeah,
this
it was
feels
kinda
like a money grab.
Here's Lady Gaga again.
You know?
And can I just say that after watching that movie, I thought, holy shit, she is like the fucking worst girlfriend. Like, holy shit. Again, I'm trying not to give anything away, but just like, oh, you're fucking terrible.
Yeah. Yep. No.
That's not the Harley Quinn, that I know and love and cherish. Because I'm a big fan as well. We haven't gone down the
but
the kind of nerd rabbit hole, but yeah.
Yeah, it just I don't know. It was just it was a movie that I don't feel was needed. It didn't need to exist. And yet it exists.
Yeah, they
now.
could have left the first one to stand.
And
I'll probably watch it one more time, like once it's streaming.
Meh.
Since I'm paying for all these fucking services.
Meh.
Just to like, I don't know. I feel like I need to solidify some of my thoughts on it. So I might watch it one more time.
Fair enough.
But like the first Joker, I saw it in the theater, and I'm not kidding. I saw it again the next day. Like I loved that.
Yeah.
That was was fantastic.
This was not that.
Yeah, a little bit of a letdown.
Now, Dave Clark, that the Smoking Butts and Tapping Ash guy, has been on my show a couple times. He reached out to me yesterday and told me that I need to check out the new Hellboy movie, Hellboy the Crooked Man. It was supposed to come to theaters, and for whatever reason, they changed and didn't.
Really?
And so it went straight to streaming. Right now, it's streaming. And you got to buy it, so it's $20.
Okay.
But I feel like on October 22nd, I feel like that was the date, it goes to video on demand where you can rent it for like $6.99.
That makes sense. That's a Tuesday.
And so, it's going to go to like $7 if you want to rent it. And he told me it was good. He bought it, and he's just like, dude, this is amazing. And he's like, make sure you, as he put it, I have to have a couple of pair of panties on hand because I'm going to shit mine. So I'm like, thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. But
this movie is pants shittingly good.
Yes, but
2 times.
Well, and he also implied I wear panties, but anyway. But in the process of this, though, he and I went back and forth, and I'm like, dude, I'll wait for the 22nd when it's $7 because I don't want to pay. I hate paying physical media prices for digital product.
I understand that. For a long time,
I won't do that.
No, for a long time, I refused to buy anything digitally because I felt the same way. And it's funny because just as I got out of that mindset, now it's coming back around because movies are being pulled from streaming and they don't make DVDs anymore. But, back in 2001 when I worked at Blockbuster and all of the tapes were going to previously viewed and I was snatching them up. People laughed.
Yep. And now look at them.
Now people are buying VCRs again and cassette tapes.
That's the thing. You can't get some of this shit on streaming, so you have to have the physical copy, and if you don't, you're screwed.
Dogma. I haven't seen Dogma in
Yeah, I know. It's
20
such a
years.
big deal that the Weinsteins that Kevin Smith managed to get the rights back from Weinstein on Dogma. I have Dogma. It's inside the house right now.
Do you really?
I could have watched Dogma at any fucking point I wanted. Oh, yeah. I've got Dogma. I can watch it anytime I want.
Wow. Well, you are among the few from what I've
I'm just saying.
seen and heard online.
Everybody's complaining because they couldn't watch it. We're going to be able to watch it.
Well, yeah, because they don't. You can't get it on DVD anymore. If you didn't get it when you could.
Well,
there you
I've
go.
got it. I've got it. Yep. We can watch it whenever you want. I've got Dogma. So, anyway.
I was going to say, if they weren't going to re-release it, well, you hang on to that DVD, and that's,
Well, no. And now I'm sitting here
Max's
thinking,
college fund.
No, that's exactly what I'm sitting here thinking. It's like, fuck, I just missed the window to make a mint selling a copy of Dogma on DVD. I bet I probably could have gotten a decent chunk of change for that. And now it's coming back, and it's like, well, shit. Okay, well, whatever. But, yeah. Such is life, I guess.
There's always bootlegs, I guess. You could just You just start bootlegging it.
I don't want to bootleg it. I had an actual original, like, full-on, like, legal copy.
Oh, yeah.
I could have sold that shit. I could have made some money, but what are you going to do? All right. Well, that's the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report. Let's just do the socials and get this over with. I'm tired. So I'm on Instagram at the Cigar Pulpit. I'm on Facebook where we have the Pulpit Parishioners group. Get in on the fun there. We have Twitter/X where I don't really do much of anything except repost stuff. So, whatever. YouTube where you can watch this. And I do need your calls for the Ask the Pulpit episodes. Area code 863-874-0000. And that's where I'm at.
Now, before we cut things off, as promised.
Oh, yeah, the Chat GPT.
Hell yeah.
Rock on.
I didn't forget.
Okay.
So
I did.
Without telling Chat GPT anything about the show.
Okay.
Other than it is a podcast for cigar aficionados. Called The Cigar Pulpit. I asked Chat GPT to create some funny taglines.
Oh, boy.
Some of them are kind of lame, but some of them aren't too bad.
Okay.
Let's see. We have come for the cigars, stay for the preaching. Spreading the gospel of the good leaf, which honestly, that sounds like...
That's interesting.
Spreading the gospel of the good leaf. That also makes me think of potheads.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, it made me think of Ozzy Osbourne.
See, I always when people always say the Cigar Pulpit, I'm like, oh yeah, we're spreading the good word of the cigar.
Yeah, lighting up wisdom one puff at a time.
Ooh, now that's good.
Where smoke meets the sermon. See, I'm telling you, ChatGPT's got some useful, and this was just a simple prompt. Now, like if you know what you want to say, so for example, right, the bitchy email that I mentioned earlier that I accidentally sent to the person I was talking about, I could have maybe taken that email and put it in ChatGPT and said, rewrite this in a professional way, and I could have told her in a professional manner to kindly, respectfully fuck off. So
that's always good to have.
It's always good to use as a tool.
Okay,
but some of these taglines aren't too bad, right?
Yeah, some of those are not bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So something to consider. You got to spice things up a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit something.
Something for the people.
I got that. I like it. Well, Cherry, thank you so much for taking time out tonight.
Absolutely.
And your first cigar experience. What are you?
Yep, in the books.
What? Final thoughts.
I'm gonna give it 2 thumbs up.
All right. So you would do it again?
I would. Yeah, I would do it again for sure.
You would advance and try a different cigar?
Yeah, but probably not, one of those giant, like what you were talking about. Yeah. Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Exactly. Yep.
Exactly. Okay. Well, again, I thoroughly endorse the Villiger Export. I like those guys, and they're good for a quick smoke and having around. So, anyway, well, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. This has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick.
I'm Cherry Chernobyl.
Everybody stay safe and stay smoky. My toes are freezing. I need to go inside the house. Later, guys.